Okay, thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First, can we have a roll call, please, Jason?
Council President Perez.
Aye. No, here.
Councilmember Van.
Here.
Councilmember Benedetti.
Here.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
Here.
Councilmember McIrvin.
Here.
Councilmember Prince.
Here.
And Councilmember Corman.
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor. All present.
Okay, thank you. First up, we have a proclamation. This is National Recovery Month.
Okay. Proclamation, whereas behavioral health is an essential part of one's overall health and wellness, and whereas prevention of mental and substance use disorders works, treatment is effective, and recovery is possible, and whereas recovery is a process and people recover in our local area and around the nation, and whereas preventing and overcoming mental and substance use disorders is essential to achieving healthy lifestyles, both physically and emotionally, and whereas an estimated 400,000 people in King County are affected by these conditions, and whereas we must encourage relatives and friends of people with mental and/or substance use disorders to implement preventive measures, recognize the signs of a problem, and guide those in need to appropriate treatment and recovery support services. And whereas we recognize 4 dimensions of recovery from mental health and substance use disorders: health, home, purpose, and community. And whereas to help more people achieve and sustain long-term recovery, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, King County, and the City of Renton invite all residents to participate in National Recovery Month. Now therefore I, Armando Pavoni, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim September 2020 to be National Recovery Month in the City of Renton, and I encourage all members of the community to join me in the special observation, and witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 14th day of September 2020, signed Armando Pavoni, Mayor, City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President Perez.
I move to adopt the proclamation as read.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Perez and seconded by Council Member Corman that the proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. And tonight we have LaTanya Rogers from King County here to accept the proclamation. LaTanya. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Those are one things that we have to learn in our unfortunate new future. Thank you, Mayor and the Honorable Council, for the acceptance of the proclamation. We here at King County Behavioral Health and the people in our county, in our state, and Renton, as I am also a resident of Renton, appreciate and wholeheartedly accept this honor and this proclamation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us tonight. We all know or know someone or have a relative or a loved one that's been affected by this for sure. So, okay, next up is administrative reports. Jason.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I have 2 items. First, the Renton History Museum reopened on September 9th with limited hours and limited capacity, consistent with the Governor's Safe Start Plan. The museum will be open Wednesdays through Fridays, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. until further notice, with masks and social distancing required. Admission will be by donation for the month of September. The museum reopens with 2 new exhibits: the Smithsonian Institution's Hometown Teams exhibit and a special exhibit on Renton sporting triumphs. Both exhibits will be on display until Saturday, October 17th. For more information, call 425-255-2330. And secondly, Public Health Seattle and King County has opened a free COVID-19 testing site at 805 Southwest 10th Avenue in Renton. The site is open Monday to Saturday, 8:30 to 5:30 p.m. Make sure to register for an appointment. You can call 206-477-3977. Thank you.
Okay, next we will open remote audience comment period. It remains the strong intent of the city to have public comment regularly included on our agendas. However, the city reserves the right to eliminate or to end these public comment periods and/or remove anyone from the meeting at any point if we deem the system is being abused or is no longer suitable to allowing the city to conduct its necessary business. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes to speak. You'll be called upon by Julia Medzigian, Council Liaison. Ms. Medzigian will call the speaker's name and unmute the appropriate microphone, which will send an automatic prompt to the speaker of, "You've been unmuted." This is the speaker's cue that is their turn to speak. Please begin your comments by stating your name, city of residence, and the topic you are addressing. Speakers should be able to see a timer on the screen. When your time is almost up, please wrap up your comments. Ms. Medzigian.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the record, my name is Julia Medzigian. I am the City Council Liaison. I have 3 people that have signed up in advance to speak this evening. When I unmute you, you will need to give your city of residence and you will have 5 minutes to address council. I had Kristen Paterson signed up to speak, but I don't see her. Kristen, if you're in the audience, can you raise your hand? Okay, then we'll go to the next one, Joseph Todd.
Hi. Dr. Smith was supposed to go first before me, so.
Mr. Todd, did you want to address council?
So Dr. Smith was supposed to go before me. That's the way she signed us up.
Okay, Linda Smith.
Okay, good evening. I'm Linda Smith, Renton resident, and to the mayor, Mayor Pavoni, Chairperson Perez, and City Council members. I'm here this evening to talk about the budget proposal around issues of the statute that was signed. So the King County Board of Health, as you know, had passed a resolution declaring racism as a public health crisis. And part of that resolution, the Board of Health said it support King County in public health and the work to advance public health approaches in addressing institutional and systematic racism. So as part of being a city that is ahead of the curve, we need to ensure that all residents achieve equality and equity in all areas, including housing, economics, healthcare, hiring, policies, education, criminal justice, and all aspects of people's lives. And I know you've heard this many times. But we must first acknowledge in the resolution, and we are grateful for the resolution that was passed on Monday, August 3rd, 2020, in which the City Council approved resolution number 4414, adopting 2021 through 2026 business plan to strengthen its stand against racism in support of racial equity. And we are grateful for that and believe that is a huge step forward. We also believe you're listening. Thank you for showing up at various community events as residents give voice to issues that impact their lives, but also demonstrate their amazing contributions to our community as well. As residents of this community, we believe that for this to become a reality, we must move forward with action to make it a reality. Now, many Blacks, Indigenous, and other people of color are living in the basement of our society and communities and need barriers removed to move up to the upper level of society. For this to become a reality, we believe that the budget must be a community-led, participatory budget process that includes soliciting ideas and proposal. Just as there is a plan to preserve trees of the city, as noted in the community of the whole meeting this evening, we need a plan to preserve the well-being of humanity. These demands that we propose this evening, that Mr. Todd will share in a minute, demand ensure that equity is viewed through the eyes of the community and how the funds should be spent to bring about equality for the community. Equity cannot be achieved in a vacuum. It requires transparency and it requires the involvement of all of the voices of the community. Together, united for justice and change, we can transform Renton into an anti-racist city. To advance the resolution to action, we believe that change must be made. We believe that the following demands will enable us to advance the cause of racial equity, not only for Blacks, but the entire community in our city in alignment with resolution number 4414. So in order to ensure equity, we need to ensure a budget that is representative of employment opportunities, housing, economic, small minority-owned business, and education that is accessible and equitable for all. And as I said, Joseph Todd will be presenting the demands of the community in this presentation this evening. And we really thank you for listening and thank you for responding to the voice of the community. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Todd, would you like to address the council now?
Yes. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So council members, Mayor, glad to be with you this evening. Together, uniting for justice and change, we can transform Renton into an anti-racist city. To advance resolution number 4414 to action, we believe that changes must be made. We believe that the following demands will enable us to advance the cause of racial equity in our city in alignment with the resolution. The first one is create the Equity and Empowerment Commission. The City Council should restore the Advisory Commission and Diversity, Municipal Code Title 2, Chapter 7, and rename it to the Equity and Empowerment Commission. The Commission should report to the Council annually on targets and outcomes for achieving equity in Renton and recommendations to further achieve those targets. The Commission's responsibility should be expanded to prioritize and help guide the city toward more equitable outcomes and audit city government organizations and nonprofits over discrimination, hate crimes, and hate groups. 2, we would like the city to meet 50% Black and people of color employment and 50% contracting targets. Our city employees and contractors should reflect the diversity of our city. Commissions and committees should as well. Citizenship requirements should be replaced with residence requirements, and city class protections should be expanded to include gender identity and expression. We should also assess recruitment for employment and contracting practices to identify areas that may be limiting Black and Indigenous people of color and other historically marginalized communities from gaining jobs with the city. Codes and ordinances should also be reviewed. 3, we would also like the city to create a RISE investment program. It'll be a racial investment to secure equity program. We're calling it RISE. We think that $10 million should be directed toward the fund to support eradicating social injustices and creating equity for Blacks. The program should support homeownership, Black-owned businesses, and target scholarships for education. The fund should also focus on alternative programs that deal specifically with violence prevention and alternative careers, creating economic equity to right the historical wrongs that have been done to Black communities. We'd also like to create an anti-racist budget for directing revenue to social services and basic needs. We also think $10 million in funds should be directed there as well to preventative services to include community services and basic mental health responses and treatment training, community engagement, and creating and supporting an anti-racist approach to the city administration, the business plan, policies, and budget. We'd also like to hire case managers skilled in mental health and addictions to be deployed when those issues occur within the city rather than deploying the police. And we'd also like to create an alternative youth violence program to prevent the prison to school pipeline. So these are our demands, and based on what you just the proclamation you just read, Mayor, this fits perfectly in what we're proclaiming that our city wants to do, and we should go forth and do these particular demands that we're asking for. Thank you.
Next, I have Mike Batten with his hand raised.
Good evening, Council. Thank you again for your time tonight. Very quickly, from my perspective, I believe Council and the Mayor are taking an active role in promoting the city's well-being for everyone. They have no demands. In this time of unprecedented need and near crisis, you've responded adequately and appropriately to many of the citizens and their desires to just be comfortable in their own environment. So keep doing what you're doing. Don't make any radical changes. And again, we appreciate your support from this household. Lower Kennedale and Renton. Thank you. I yield.
Okay, I don't have anyone else with their hand raised here we go. Brianna Smith? Sorry, try that again.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Governor and distinguished members of Council, my name is Brianna Smith. I live in Renton. I am representing the Black Lives Matter street mural team. I want to recite to you part of the press speech given by Loretta Weltman after the police shooting of her brother, Jacob Blake. Quote, "I am my brother's keeper, and you say the name Jacob Blake. Make sure you say father. Make sure you say cousin. Make sure you say son. Make sure you say uncle. But most importantly, make sure you say human. Human life. Let it marinate in your mouth, in your minds, a human life. Just like every single one of y'all and everywhere around. We are a human and his life matters. So many people have reached out to me telling me they're sorry for what has happened to my family. Well, don't be sorry, because this has happened to my family for a long time, longer than I can account for. It happened to Emmett Till, is my family, Philando Castile, Mike Brown, Sandra Bland. This has been happening to my family, and I've shed tears for every single one of these people that it's happened to. It's nothing new. I'm not sad. I'm not sorry. I'm angry, and I'm tired. I haven't cried one time. I stopped crying years ago. I am numb. I've been watching the police murder people that look like me for years. I'm also a Black History minor. And so not only have I been watching for the 30 years I've been on this planet, but I've also been watching it for years before we were even alive. I'm not sad. I don't want your pity. I want change." End quote. What will be a clear statement of anti-racist ideals is reinforcing the positive narrative that Black Lives Matter and have the education to go with it. The dominoes that fall from there are true police reform, real justice reform, and so on. But if you can't see and understand Black Lives Matter, then we won't get anywhere. This is why I believe we need a mural that says these words, to change the narrative I recited and begin the re-education. And I would just like to, again, thank Dr. Linda and Mr. Todd for their presentation earlier, because I also agree with that as well as true reform and getting better equity for the Black people and people around the nation to have better lives. Thank you for your time.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to address the council? Please raise your hand. If you've called in through Zoom, you can press *9 to raise your hand. Okay, I see no one else, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next up, we have the consent agenda. What is the wish of the council?
Sorry, Councilor Mayor. I move that the council concur with the consent agenda as published.
I second. Okay, it's been moved by Council President Perez and seconded by Councilmember Corman that the council concur with the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Next, we have unfinished business. Council President Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Van.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Benedetti.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Prince.
Finance Committee has committee reports.
Finance Committee report, the first is regarding claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves the following payments. Accounts payable, total payment of $34,602,357.14 for a number of vouchers and payroll benefit withholding vouchers and 8 wire transfers. And then payroll, a total payment of, looks like $81,270.97 for payroll vouchers that include 579 direct deposits. That's for the August 1st through August 15th pay period.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Prince.
I move that council concur with the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Van, that the council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Okay, the final, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Motion carries.
Sorry.
You're up.
Okay, the next report is regarding a supplemental agreement with WashDOT. The Transportation Aviation Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute supplement number 1 to local agency agreement contract 19306 with the Washington State Department of Transportation to obligate $662,605 in grant funds for the Renton Elementary and Middle School Crossings project.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Prince.
I move that council concur with the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, seconded by Councilmember Van, that the council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Councilmember O'Halloran.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember McGurven.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
And Councilmember.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Next up, we have legislation. We have 3 ordinances for first reading.
Okay, well, the first ordinance is for first reading. It's regarding, I believe, stream types. So, an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, reclassifying pursuant to Renton Municipal Code Section 43050E5, 2 portions of Maplewood Creek from type NP to type F, and a portion of Kennydale Creek from type NS to type NP, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Corman.
I move this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Corman, seconded by Councilmember McGurven, that ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, carried.
Okay, the next ordinance is for second and final reading, and it's regarding Extenet Systems franchise agreement. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, granting to Extenet Systems Incorporated and its affiliates, successors, and assigns the right, privilege, authority, and non-exclusive franchise for 5 years to construct, maintain, operate, replace, and repair a telecommunications network for small cell technology in, across, over, along, under, through, and below certain designated public rights-of-way of the City of Renton, Washington.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Halloran.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read. Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran and seconded by Councilmember Benedetti that this ordinance be adopted as read. We need a roll call, please.
Council President Perez.
Aye.
Councilmember Van.
Aye.
Councilmember Benedetti?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Halloran?
Aye.
Sorry. Councilmember McGurven?
Aye.
Councilmember Prince?
Aye.
And Councilmember Corman?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
Do we have a third ordinance?
We do. The next ordinance is regarding the Auto Mall District. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending Section 4340 of the Renton Municipal Code, amending regulations related to the Auto Mall District, adopting a revised Auto Mall Overlay Area B map, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date. This is also for second and final reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Corman.
I move adoption of this ordinance as read.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Corman, seconded by Councilmember McGurven, that the council adopt the ordinance as read. This requires a roll call.
Council President Perez?
Aye.
Councilmember Van?
Aye.
Councilmember Benedetti?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Halloran?
Aye.
Councilmember McGurven?
Aye.
Councilmember Prince?
Aye.
And Councilmember Corman?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have new business. Council President Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, September 21st, 2020 at 4 p.m., we will have a parliamentary procedure training for elected officials, and the committee of the whole will be canceled. At 7 p.m. on September 21st, 2020, the council will meet via video conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Van.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Benedetti.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, September 22nd, at 3 p.m., the Utilities Committee will be meeting via video conference. We have 3 items on the agenda: stormwater retrofit study, utilities CIP briefing, and emerging issues in utilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McGurven.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Transportation Committee will not be meeting on September 21st because it has been canceled. That is all.
Thank you. Councilmember Prince.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Corman.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. What is the wish of the council?
I move we adjourn.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President Perez.
I move that we recess into executive session to discuss with legal counsel matters of potential litigation pursuant to RCW 4230-110, subsection 1I, for approximately 30 minutes. After that, the council meeting will be adjourned.
Second.
It's been moved that the council adjourn to executive session by Council President Perez, seconded by Councilmember O'Halloran. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, we're adjourned off to executive session.